In this video, I'm going to talk about social media's effect on democracy in our modern lives. But let's start with a brief history of social media. Let's face it, humans have pretty much always been bombarded with media. From early use of propaganda in the 500s BCE to modern propaganda, to the rise of the radio, then the television, and now social media. Like all these forms, modern social media has had its nasty moments. In particular, the problems with Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, and the 2016 election. As you are probably aware, Facebook had some issues during the 2016 presidential election, such as the personal data of 50 million users being leaked to Cambridge Analytica, which had been hired by the Trump campaign. The data, taken from personal polls and internet usage, was then used to analyze personalities and political leanings, etc., for campaigns to carefully design ads tailored to the individual. This was incredibly effective because of a little thing called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is humans' tendency to interpret or understand new information in a way that bolsters our pre-existing beliefs. So, ads made for pro-Trump Republicans would paint Trump as a hero to strengthen their support for him because they see the ad as evidence for his heroism, or they would see ads that depicted Clinton as a monster to reinforce their distrust of her. This also works in the opposite direction, with pro-Clinton Democrats being shown ads promoting Clinton's political experience, or ads attacking Trump's lack thereof. This abuse of human nature only serves to further polarize the American people, which I think we can all agree makes democracy difficult, because it's harder for us to discuss these pressing issues. Facebook has also hindered democracy by the way its newsfeed ad is set up. It, again, is a tailored program, meaning you only see what you want to see. The journal Science published a report on what is now called the blue feed, red feed. Accounts that were determined by the algorithm to be more liberal were targeted with more liberal articles, while more conservative accounts were targeted with more conservative articles. This, again, is an example of using people's confirmation bias to polarize Americans, threatening democracy as we know it. But do these stories really mean that social media as a whole is ruining our long-standing tradition of democracy? I'll give you a clue. The answer is no, not at all. Activism is the product of social media that redeems it by strengthening democracy for our country. The Pew Research Center conducted a study to find what adult Americans think of social media's effect on politics in this day and age. 53% of Americans have either taken part in a group that shares an interest or in a cause, encouraged others to take action on issues important to them, looked up information on local protests or rallies, changed profile pictures to show support for a cause, and or used hashtags related to a political social issue. Compared to white social media users, Black and Hispanic users are 20% more likely, around 33% compared to the 53%, to say that social media is important for getting involved with issues or expressing their views. 69% of Americans believe that social media is important for getting elected officials to pay attention to issues, while 63% believe that they are important for creating a sustained movement for social change. These statistics may sound boring when listed like this, but they actually reveal something quite interesting. Americans generally believe that social media is a force of democratic change in this country. Complete reform may be a tall order for social change right now to accomplish, but this doesn't mean that it is a threat to democracy. Think of the Me Too movement, bringing awareness to sexual harassment that has plagued Hollywood for generations through social media. Think of the Black Lives Matter movement, bringing awareness to the racial injustices that Americans are still suffering, again, through social media. Democracy is founded on everyone having a heard voice, and social media is the ticket to coming closer to fully realizing this. The big social media movements that I briefly mentioned above were, and still are, movements propelled by the previously ignored members of our society through social media. In the statistics from above, I said that Black and Hispanic Americans were more likely to use social media politically. This is important because it shows that social media is leveling the democratic playing field a little bit more. Social media isn't perfect, but there are ways to improve it. One way is to, instead of fixing the sites, help the people. We have entered an era founded on technology and social media, so it's vital to teach social media users how to be media smart. Teach them how to sift between fake news and real news. Teach them how to respectfully discuss difficult issues online to mend the broken ideological bonds, and how to promote their ideas without shutting down those of others. Social media needs work, this is true, but overall its effects are ultimately bettering democracy in the United States.